This is Greater MSP Business with Cindy Brucato.
Hello everyone, we're here again at Greater MSP headquarters in St. Paul. Today we're talking about medtech, medical technology. With the depth of medtech talent we have in this region, we have a competitive edge in attracting new medical device companies. Case in point, BioSig Technologies, which moved from Los Angeles to Golden Valley, establishing new headquarters for its proprietary medical device that gives physicians real-time evaluations of electrograms. BioSig's president and CEO Greg Cash is joining us today. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So why did you make the move from Los Angeles to Golden Valley?
The Twin Cities have the greatest concentration of medical device companies and specifically cardiovascular device companies, and so we wanted to draw from that highly skilled talent pool that exists here.
Did you find what you were looking for?
Absolutely. So far we've made some great hires and looking forward to making some more.
Let's talk about the product now. How does it differ from a traditional EP recorder?
So traditional EP recorders were designed in the late 80s and early 90s, so it's relatively old technology. And in the procedure room where treatment of rapid cardiac rhythms are conducted, there's a lot of other equipment that generates electrical noise. And that obscures some of the signals that the cardiac electrophysiologists are looking at in order to treat their patients. So what we can do is through digital signal processing in a broader dynamic range, we can take that noise out of the system so they can actually see the morphology of the waveforms they're trying to treat.
Oh, that's interesting. So could there have been an error rate with the older system?
Absolutely. The biggest procedure is ablation of atrial fibrillation. 1 in 4 Americans over the age of 65 have AFib. And the more permanent or persistent the disease, the higher the recurrence rate is. So if you're with permanent atrial fibrillation, you've got almost a 1 in 2 chance of needing a redo procedure.
You are testing the product right now. What phase are you in?
So we just conducted an animal trial at the Mayo Clinic, which went extremely well. And so we're getting ready to prepare for our FDA submission, hopefully towards the end of the year.
Who will use this device?
Cardiac electrophysiologists and electrophysiology laboratories. There are about 2,800 of them in the United States, about 4,000 worldwide.
How soon will it be on the market?
So this is a relatively uncomplicated approval process. It's what's called a Class 2 device. So Class 2 device generally does not require human clinicals. None of the cardiac EP systems prior to this product have required them. So, you know, I never want to predict with the FDA, but it should be somewhere from a 3 to 6 month process once they receive our application. Jumping
back to our point earlier in the interview about your move here and the employees that you're looking for, you have hired people. What kind of people have you hired? What is their skill set?
First hire was a vice president of clinical affairs, so conducting clinical trials, preclinical trials, and also interfacing with our scientific advisory board.
Would these be MDs?
No, but technical backgrounds and degrees. The other hire we recently made was a vice president of regulatory affairs, so highly focused and skilled in a specific area, but interfacing with regulatory bodies like the FDA.
Are you looking to get approval in European markets as well?
Yes, I just came back from a trip to Europe where I was presenting at a MedTech conference and started the process of meeting with notified bodies there to help us obtain the CE mark, which is required to launch in Europe. And then we'll look at other markets around the world.
You've had background with Medtronic. How did that prepare for your heading up a company like BioSig?
I started at Medtronic as an intern, and 14 years later I was still there, mainly focused in cardiac rhythm management, which is dealing with rhythms like we do. Most of the cardiac rhythm market when I was at Medtronic was focused on bradycardia or too slow heartbeats. This is focused on tachycardia, which are rapid heart rhythms, but they're the same recordings that you use to diagnose them. So I learned those fairly young in my career, and I'm kind of going back to my roots now.
Were you working with the same kind of people that you work with now?
Yes, very similar. Electrical engineers, biomedical engineers, skilled folks in the areas of the technical side of cardiovascular devices.
Thanks again, Greg Cash from BioSig Technologies, for being with us today. For Greater MSP Business, I'm Cindy Brucato.